What's up, guys? It's once again mp4podcast.com, and I want to talk about this photograph that I took. And I'm gonna get a little geeky into the photography side in a few minutes, but I'm just gonna talk about my experience with this photograph. I was walking down the stairs and I saw this beautiful girl, and she was in Laura Croft, costume right here. So let me just go like right here so you can see. You can see that she has the bow, she gets the armband, she gets the shirt on, she gets the bruises and everything. So I saw her and I said, "Can I please take your photograph?" She nodded her head. It was extremely loud. You could barely hear anything. This is on the PAX floor where all the video game companies are, and each one of them are playing speakers pretty loudly. Not like a rock concert, but it's pretty loud in there. And plus, people are talking. So she nodded her head, and I got one shot off, and I framed it, and it was extremely packed. I didn't want to hold her for like three more shots, whatever, but I got the perfect shot on 110. That usually doesn't happen to me. Usually, when I'm taking a portrait of somebody, usually I have to take about three. Sometimes I get on two. Usually I take three, sometimes even four, just to make sure I get the shot just right. But I nailed this shot, and what's even blew my mind was that this shot got 437,000 views. I mean, if you look at the bandwidth, it's 172 gigabytes. I mean, it's a little bit more, but it just blew my mind. And she had an amazing costume. When I was reading, because she also posted on Reddit. I'll leave both links here. If you want to read the Reddit, a lot of people made jokes about who's your makeup artist, Chris Brown. I don't believe in beating women, but I mean those jokes were kind of funny. Tomb Raider bruises, whatever. I mean, in a way, it's kind of a compliment. That's how good her costume was. And now I have it on my 500px account right over here, and just gonna look at this. Now, I took this with my Olympus EPL1. I bought this camera about a year ago. Actually, my dad bought it for me for my birthday. I got it for $150, and the lens that I used was my old dad's lens. It was Minolta 50 millimeter f1.7, so it's a pretty old lens, but it's a really good lens. What's great about this lens for you guys who don't know too much about photography, is you can get one of these lenses extremely cheap, and I would recommend it for anybody who has a mirrorless camera, just because the Minolta lenses, they can go on any mirrorless system. If you're a Canon user, you can get, of course, your 50 millimeter Canon brand, or you get a Nikon lens with an adapter or something like that. But as you can see, the background blurs out, so it kind of automatically gives the picture a backdrop. And this is ISO 1000. It was 100th of a second. Now I could, I put everything on automatic. I put this on aperture priority, just so the camera would say, okay, it's wide open. I'll do the shutter and stuff like that. I didn't want to set the shutter. ISO was automatic, even though the camera doesn't know what the aperture was. I put it on aperture because, okay, I'm wide open. I'm going to start shooting. Let me just turn off my speakers because that's going to pop up a little bit more. But I was really impressed with this image. Now, I'm going to talk about, I screwed up a little bit, and now I'm going to get a little bit geeky, so you guys might not be interested in this. A couple of days before PAX, I was charging up my batteries on my cameras. I have a Panasonic GH2 Lumix camera, and I got that primarily for video, and I wanted something a little bit better for photography for my Micro Four Thirds system. And last year, the EPL1, it was on Amazon for $150. So I said, that seems like a pretty good alternative for my Micro Four Thirds photography. So I got the EPL1. And I was just taking a picture of the fan in my room at ISO 1600 with my GH2 and my Olympus EPL1. And the Olympus EPL1 at ISO 1600 was much cleaner than the GH2. And the GH2 is a 16 megapixel camera, and the EPL1 is a 12 megapixel camera. So the extra 4 megapixels might have played a role in it. However, maybe the firmware also in the Olympus might be a little bit better. So there's a couple of reasons of why the ISO in the Olympus could be better. And what I did was I turned off RAW because I was thinking I'm going to be going through on the Microsoft Viewer JPEG RAW of the same file. I didn't want to like click through the RAW files when I was looking at double. So I turned off RAW, and I forgot to turn back RAW when I went to PAX East. I would probably say the first floor pictures that I took and this one, and after I took this one, I was like, I remembered I didn't switch back to RAW. But what I did do that was kind of smart, so I have to give credit where credit is due, is Philip Bloom, who is a DP cinematographer, and the video guys for the most part can't shoot RAW. Some of them can, but RAW is slowly coming into the video field on an affordable level. Now, the only cameras that can do RAW as of right now is the Red cameras, the Black Magic cameras, and the Sony F65. I'm talking, these cameras are extremely expensive, and the FS700 with a new firmware update and external recorder. But the thing is, what video guys usually do is they shoot a flat image. That means they shoot with, like, it's almost like there's no color in the image, but the color data is there, so they can grade it in post. So it's close to RAW, but it's not quite close. So what I did is I shooted it. I think on the Olympus it says neutral density, neutral. So it's just a normal colored image. It's not super contrasty. It's not super flat. And I was still able to pull enough detail out of it to fix up the image. Like I pulled some detail out of the hair in Lightroom, and to tell you the truth, I was pretty happy with it. Now, of course, it's not going to be as good as RAW, and I don't think a RAW file would have actually made this image better. I could be wrong, and if it did, it's probably just a slight edge. So, where RAW really comes in is when you're really in danger, when you really need to fix something up a lot, and that's where you probably get a big boost in RAW. But I got my exposure right. I got it right in the camera. I shot it neutral profile, so I was able to degrade pretty good in post. So that's just a little camera tip for you guys. And one of the reasons why I think it's good to shoot a neutral neutral JPEG file is when you're shooting RAW in JPEG, and you have a camera that only has one SD card, one memory card slot. If your camera accidentally wrote a bad RAW file, maybe the bad sector on the memory card is that your neutral JPEG file, in a way, is kind of like a backup to a RAW. Even though it's not RAW, it's kind of like a backup. You understand what I'm saying? So if you were shooting RAW in a high contrast JPEG, then you put too much contrast in it, so you're not going to be able to play it back as much. So you shoot flat, and then you can add all the contrast you want in post. So that's a little bit like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my 500px link, my Flickr link. Now, if you guys want to get this photograph, you want to get the highest quality image, you can click the magnifying glass right here. You want to go to, and then click on original, and I'll just blow it up right here. Now, this is a 12 megapixel camera. It's a little grainy, but I think it's pretty good. I could probably throw it in Lightroom and clean up the noise a little bit, but you will see a little bit noise, like right here in the hair a little bit, but it still looks pretty good. It's not bad at all. And I'll tell you the truth, you're only going to notice this if you're like pixel peeping really closely. So if I blew this up to like a 16 by 20 and I stood 4 feet away from the image, you're not going to really even notice it anyway. So it's not like really like a big deal. course, you could probably just get it right over here, copy it from Imura's site and so on. But yeah, so if you go to PAX, definitely if you want to take cosplay photographs, what I do now, this is my experience with PAX. So keep in mind, Friday I was filming, and I got almost all the video game footage that I wanted. And I was going to get a little bit more, but I was so burnt out. I didn't want to really be on the show floor. Saturday was really good for cosplay. Now, they do have a cosplay show on Friday morning. It's like I think it was at 10 or 11 o'clock. I missed that show. But there were a lot of cosplay people there on Friday, but I wasn't doing cosplay, like taking pictures of people. But on Friday, I said I want to do photography. I don't want to do video. So I walked around all through the sides in the main hallway, and I got a lot of cosplay. I did walk around the show floor a little bit. I did take some photographs there, but not too much. I got a few people there. But it's really relaxing if you just walk around the sides taking cosplay pictures like portraits and so on. You will get some really nice pictures. Of course, what really helps with natural lighting, you get window lighting coming in and so on. I got really lucky with this photograph. There were lights just perfectly on her, and this was on the show floor, so the light just worked for me and so on. And the reason why I didn't bring a flash was, even though my EPL1 has a little tiny little flashes, I was going to do more video, and I wanted to bring my photography camera, my EPL1. That's my camera I like to use for photography. Sometimes I'll use the GH2 if I need an not an optical, the EVF or the electronic viewfinder when I'm out and it's sunny and I want to do micro four thirds. That's when I'll use the GH2. But I didn't want to bring too much gear, and I had a small bag for my EPL1, and that's what I went with. But I have to admit, I like the natural light. I like flash too. So I don't think one's really better than the other. They're just different looks. So if you guys have any questions about photography or cosplay or video games, ask me in the comments. One other thing is, I did take pictures of people. I went back Sunday for PAX. There really weren't as many people at PAX on Sunday. It's kind of slowed down. You have to take in consideration a lot of people fly in for PAX, and some people might have to go back to work, Monday morning. They might not have gotten Monday off, so they're flying back Sunday. Maybe sometimes they go Sunday morning and then they go back to the airport or whatever, and they fly. They go back to wherever they're from. Friday seems to be more packed than Sunday. Maybe people will try to get the Friday off, and then they fly in on Thursday, and then, Friday was pretty packed. Okay, so even though Friday is a work day, Friday was pretty packed. I think Saturday was probably even more packed. But on cosplay for Friday, it was like half the people that were walking the show floors, and there are some people with some amazing costumes. I mean, Bumblebee from the Transformers, the new Bumblebee from the movies, that costume was amazing. This guy was on stilts. I mean, he was probably like 10 feet tall. There was another guy, I don't know who he was on stilts too. I was leaving PAX. I was too tired to walk to the other side of PAX, take his picture. I think it was maybe Star Wars or some video game character who was on stilts. Kind of wish I got a picture of him, but the thing about PAX is you can be there 12 hours taking pictures of people, and there's going to be a time where you have to say, I got to put the camera back in the bag and go home, because PAX is huge, and I got burnt out walking PAX for 3 days. I mean, you will burn yourself out. The building in PAX is, I don't know how big it is, but it's like, I don't know, like 10 football fields. I mean, it's huge, you know what I mean? So you just walking for like 7 hours. And the food at PAX, it's not that good. It's overpriced, but it's convenient. So you don't have to go to other places, like go outside the building. So if you go into PAX, bring extra money for food, because it is. I'd probably say it's probably double of what a regular fast food joint is. So bring double the money for food. So if you're thinking $5, $6 for a meal, that you get a shitty meal like at a fast food place, bring $10 to $12 for your lunch, something like that. If you go into PAX East again, you can go to South Station. There's some fast food places that are pretty decent. There's a Regina's Pizza. There's a place that makes grilled cheese sandwiches that are pretty good, and so on. There's other people that said like you can go down some stairs or whatever and walk a couple of blocks and get a good meal at a local pizza shop. I didn't go there. I was just like, I'm too tired. I just want to go where I know, and that's it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel. Always making new videos. Take care, guys. Love you guys. Bye.